My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, since the last couple of videos, I've slept through the night and kind of came on again today just to show a little more as to how we carve out this wolf. Finally got the details of the face and ears done into this one. That's kind of one thing I decided to work on today. And good enough thing was I was able to just use the wood burner to do it. I thought I'd have to use the rotary tool and kind of put it off a while because we had the little kid in the house yesterday, my niece, and she's scared of loud noises, so have to kind of keep things off when she's around. But I'd say that there's just kind of a little more work to come along with this and how we make this, and so I'd say that there's probably other steps to kind of take along here, and I say we're going to kind of go along the little place in the back where we sort of do the rest of the removing of the wood. And so I say just sharpen these knives here, and think they're gonna do us some good with their newly sharpened blades, I say. And it's just kind of where we're choosing right now to kind of thin things down a bit, make them so they're kind of a bit more easier to work with. And so we come along on this just to say that a little work can do us a little good now and then, make things so they're going to be just what we need to see for our future and for the work we have in our hands to do. I say kind of make it a little thinner at the body than it is at the main, and so kind of try to tend to get the little work done along the way, make it so we're seeing just something come out just a little bit brighter as it may be, and then kind of have the work just do what it does to make us see brighter images in all we work and have and do. And I say that this is just among those times when we're just working along, seeing what we have to see for what we have to work with. I say we just kind of did one part of the sides yesterday and then come on here to finish the rest and do what we need to do to make it see how little Wolfie is making its way along. I say that there's just kind of some work to do, and we can kind of, like I say, draw a little line just to make where the tail's going to be, kind of make it so we're going to come right across and take little matters into our own concerns. And I say that just a good little amount of work can amount to much. We just drew the lines for where we make the stop for the tail, and kind of come along and make the little cuts along the edges to get the little work done right in. And I say just kind of with a little removal of a little more wood, kind of thin it out and make it so we get the right shape and size for the tail of the wolf. And I'll tell y'all more as we work our way along, but I'd say when it comes down to it, there's probably going to come a time when we're going to kind of go back to the pattern and draw little lines just to get things in place with where the pattern ought to be, to kind of work along where we need to work along to make things come where they ought to be and where they ought to go. I say that there's just some little lines here where we're kind of making it so we're going to see what it's going to be when it comes out to be what it ought to be. And of all things, you know, there's just a lot to learn about these little creatures as we come about them, you know. I'm about to sneeze, so have to kind of hold it so I don't, and just kind of a good thing that try to kind of avoid too much of that allergy attack stuff on video, you know. I've been working in places where sometimes a little cough or a little sneeze would just kind of be a little cause for a boss to nag. And as I've worked along on things I've done and things I've made, I see that this little wolf is just kind of the piece of art for when it comes down to the very things that we do. Sometimes it takes a little while to learn how to sharpen a knife, and sharpening a knife can be just like carving itself, the kind of thing where you kind of have to practice at it to get better at it. And I tell you, all this stuff, you know, sometimes the amount of work you put into something and how much better it gets you is not really something that happens overnight at all. It kind of takes a little time. You might have to do it for a while, do it for a few years, or even longer than that, just to kind of get down to where you just really have the work where you can do it. And I say that this is just one of those things where we work along at what we do just to see how the wolf is going to turn out. It's just kind of the thing it is, coming down to fine little amounts of work. I think I'm going to take a sip of coffee here and kind of get back to this a little bit. think there's probably a thing or two that's left here. Try to figure out what it might be, but I think we're going to try to come along these legs now. As I was in my guild meeting yesterday, I heard about something and hadn't kept up with a certain page on Facebook in so long, but everybody who carved something in guild, what they were working on during the meeting had a picture taken of it and was posted to Facebook. And there was a little conversation I heard yesterday. I didn't know what it was about, but it was about just something they'd seen on there about a donkey's creature or something like that, and wondering who made that. Somebody said it was Jonathan. So I kind of wondered about that myself, so I kind of looked at the page from my phone and saw that they had taken a picture of that Doberman pinscher I had carved last weekend and put it on there, and along with it, that little picture of that little doll horse I also carved. They thought it looked so much like a donkey, but it was actually a Doberman. So I say that this is just among the things where people kind of see a little something in your work and don't know exactly what it is, but they often say that it's whatever you see in the wood. And I say, of all things I make and sell, people probably see something a little bit different from what I had in mind that it was. It's not always just exactly what you think it is, not always exactly what people see, but then again, there's probably some things that products I've discontinued because people don't really see in them what they're meant to be. Kind of have a little shaving to do along the back here. Kind of work along to where we have a little place of little work here to do and make it so we come down to just what the work shall make itself to be. I say that this is just one little bit of time we do and what we have, and I say that we're coming along here, getting along the back and the mane, and taking the wolf down to where it's going to be a little carved wooden statue of some sort. There was little discussion yesterday about something down on Richmond Road here in Lexington, Kentucky that was kind of like a big horse that was carved from wood. Forget what exactly it was or where it was located from what they were saying, but it was interesting. Just took a little bit off the back of the legs. Now I think we're going to come along, come up here at the top of the head and kind of make something where we're going to try to put a little bit of extra time and work in what all we have. I tell y'all that this is just a little wolf dog. We're going to come along here, kind of take care of what's at the top of the head, coming up along to the ears, I say. And I say that it's just kind of how we see what we have here. Oh, Wolfie goes about it this much. I say that we can just kind of take along the little nose, the little muzzle, and try to add a little bit more work into the wolf's head, into its face. Make the muzzle so it's going to be brighter as the day goes by. I say this is just where we come along. We're going to try to kind of shave along the little muzzle here, make it so it's going to look straight and wise, and just like they say. And sometimes I think about that old song, do you feel the force of the wind, slash of the rain? And there's a line that goes, go hungry and cold like the wolf, go hungry and cold like the wolf, go wade like the crane, go wade like the crane. Palms of your hands will thicken, the skin of your cheek will tan. You'll grow ragged and weary, ragged and swarthy, but you'll walk like a man. It's just where we come down to what we have. Probably on this one, you know, the muzzle comes out a little wider than on the previous one, but we can kind of narrow it down a little bit, kind of make it so it's a little bit narrower altogether, and kind of try to get the work right in just like it ought to be. And so trying to equal it out a little bit might be a little bit of a difficulty thing here and there, but sometimes, just sometimes, it does help for things to come out unique, because when two things are carved by hand and they're not exactly the same, somebody just might like the way one turned out better than they do another, and it's kind of different in ways than when it's made in a factory, because as for how it is in the factories, you know, it's just kind of all made the same, and sometimes when it all gets done by hand, gets a little more unique here and there. So I say we're gonna work a little bit more along the mane here, try to take off a little bit more from the side, kind of try to remove what we don't need from the head, and kind of try to take it so it's going to be just what we're going to see when we all get done. Oh, I tell y'all, kind of like life in the ghetto. It's just the work as it comes and gets itself made. There's probably going to be some other things we're going to see along the way, and maybe just try to move things down a little bit. I say that on this little time when we do a little work, come on and take on, it's just one of those times when might have to stop and chill a little bit, and just to say that there's a lot to show and a lot to do. Sometimes I feel thankful for my subscribers and followers, and no, I'm not going to gain a whole lot of them overnight, but it just kind of happens that I always like the fact that people can come to this channel just to watch these videos and keep up with things. I would always hope to share more for the future. here I am kind of covered in these little chips of wood, and brush them off into the pan just to try to keep from having too much mess going around the basement and around the house. It wasn't that many years ago that we got some walls and a door put on my shop to try to keep the dust from going all over the basement, and it really helped. It really worked. And a lot of times I tell y'all that I stay pretty busy in life going about my work, and how we do is just kind of a little bit of a mystery, and I will always have more to share, so stay tuned, keep in touch, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.